Happy Wednesday, everybody, the 29th day of November 2017. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, and we invite you to wake up Wenatchee Valley with this very program. 1 hour of local news, local sports, little bits, entertainment, lots of in-depth and important interviews with newsmakers around the Wenatchee Valley, past reports, weather forecast, everything in one tidy little package to get your day going here the North Central Washington way. I am Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour here on this Wednesday. Right out of the box, if you park your car outside, if you don't park your car in a carport or in the garage, you will not be able to hop into your car, fire it up, and go. Ain't happening. Very, very thick frost on the windshields everywhere today. And it was mentioned to me both by Steve Hare, our news director, who's back at it, by the way. It's good to have Steve back in the office. Steve drives a big old truck. He can go wherever he wants to. He said he was fishtailing coming down from the east side here to the west side of the river. Eric Granstrom, our news director, our sports director and general manager, he got here earlier today. He mentioned how slick the roadways are. There's thick frost on the roadways. I was having a hard time even walking because the frost is very thick and very prevalent. So just a heads up, you're gonna have to warm your car up and you're gonna have to spend quite a bit of time scraping your windshield. It's a very cold, frosty morning and quite a bit of fog too in certain locations, as you can see there from our Valley View camera. So just a heads up, slick driving conditions in the Wenatchee Valley and certainly in many other locations as well. It's going to warm up as we get through the day, but if you're getting going in the next hour and a half or so, you're going to have to scrape the windshields, and you're going to have to scrape your windshield for quite some time. It's thick, just a heads up on that. Also, a quick traffic update for you folks who regularly take 97A between Chelan and Wenatchee in either direction. They're going to be working cleaning out the ditches in the Knaps Hill Tunnel from 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock this afternoon. So 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock today, US 97A, the Knaps Hill Tunnel between Wenatchee and Chelan, single lane flagger controlled traffic as they clean the ditches out. It's a pretty narrow little tunnel, and it's the only way they can do it and do it safely, so you'll find some delays there. All right, let's take you around North Central Washington with our Valley View cameras. We have some unbelievable footage again today. Beautiful morning in the Wenatchee Valley, and look at the snow. Look at the snow up there on Birch Mountain. Can you believe that? Snow level was supposed to be at 2,500 feet yesterday. It got even cooler than that and lower than that. In fact, we had a very bizarre weather phenomenon yesterday. Our high temperature Tuesday of 40 degrees happened at 11 minutes after midnight. After midnight, believe it or not, as the day progressed yesterday, it didn't get warmer as it's supposed to do. It got colder. We'll talk about that when we do the forecast. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Camera number 2 is going to take us to Billy Goat. Look at that. That is gorgeous. I have no words to describe that. Just look at it. That is Billy Goat. Incredible view. Way up there with that tower, that Sky-Fi tower, courtesy of Locatel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet. Look at that. That looks like a mountain range, doesn't it? It isn't. Those are clouds. Beautiful view from Billy Goat up in the Pateros area. Camera 3. We are going to, and I'm finding out together, that's Omi Garden, of course, and look at that big yellow, globby, gooey thing up there on the left. That's the sun, and it's going to pay us a visit. In fact, today is going to be a beautiful day. It's going to be quite a bit of sunshine, dry, typical November weather. We have a kind of a system, a series of systems that are lined up, so basically every other day we're going to have precipitation, and in those days in between, like this, we get sunshine and dry weather, and that's what we're going to have today. And finally, our fourth camera, I believe Caitlin told me, and I forgot. I'm sorry, Caitlin? That's right, that's Badger, but what we've done is we've turned it to the south. Normally, Badger, we have it pointed out over the Wenatchee Valley, so you can see the Wenatchee River flowing into the Columbia River. We've pointed it almost directly south, so you can see the sunrise. So that right by that NCW Life Channel logo in the lower right-hand corner is just a little slice of the Wenatchee Valley. An incredible view up there on Badger, and of course, they got a lot of snow up there yesterday. So good Wednesday to you from all of us here at the NCW Life Channel. Weather forecast, as I mentioned before, pretty sunny, pretty dry today. No real problems at all. And then another system comes in tonight into Thursday. So there's a high pressure ridge that's over the area, but it's not very big. It's not going to prevent anything from visiting us, and that ridge is going to give way to another front just in time for the weekend. So partly sunny today is what we're going to call it, and a high of 44. Clouds are back tonight as the system comes in, 34 for the overnight low. So we go right back to clouds and a little bit of rain on Thursday. Thursday is going to be a lot like Tuesday was. And then Friday, patchy fog, a few clouds, high of 41. Friday night, mostly cloudy, 32 for the overnight low. And then clouds with a little bit of light rain. The weather pattern is going to be active with a little bit of rain in the valley floor, a little bit of snow in the upper elevations in the mountains, but nothing really significant. No real widespread precipitation is expected, just kind of back and forth and back and forth. You're looking for quite a bit of sunshine. You're looking at today and then again Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. That is your forecast for north central Washington. For the mountain passes, let's take a look at the conditions. It's a traction tire advisory across the board. All of the passes, what we like to call the big three, Snoqualmie, Stevens, and Blewett, they all have a traction tire advisory. It is snowing on I-90, not particularly hard, but just enough to get a little snow and slush on the roadway. So there's a traction tire advisory on I-90. Stevens is snowing, and it's snowing at a little bit heavier clip. You also got some poor visibility on US 2 Stevens Pass. Traction tires are advised there, and traction tires are advised on US 97 Blewett. As we look at the summit cam there, that looks like a snowplow, doesn't it, doing its job. Traction tires are advised snow, slush, and ice in places on Blewett, but unlike Snoqualmie and unlike Stevens, Blewett is not getting any snow right now. Forecast for the mountain passes, about an inch of snow today, about an inch of snow tonight, about an inch of snow on Thursday, about an inch of snow on Thursday night, a little bit of snow on Friday. Best accumulation Friday afternoon into Friday night, 2 to 4 inches expected in the mountain passes Friday into Friday night. No significant massive snowfall expected in the mountain passes, just like we have here in the Wenatchee Valley on the valley floor. A little bit of widespread light rain off and on into the weekend in the Wenatchee Valley. You just take that and you make it snow into the upper elevations, and it's the same deal. Kind of hit and miss, no significant measurable snowfall until you get to Friday afternoon and Friday night in the Cascade Passes. So that is your news. That is your pass report and your weather forecast. Caitlin's laughing. What do you do? It's been a tough day for those of us who host morning TV shows. I'm not going to address that right now. It is 7 minutes after the hour. When we come back, we have news with Grant Olson. Steve Hare is back in the saddle again, but Grant Olson's going to handle the news this morning. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
If you are looking for dependable car service and repair, visit the good guys at Quick Lube and Tune. They've been keeping cars and trucks in the Wenatchee Valley running smooth for 35 years. Quick Lube and Tune is your hometown shop for a 10-minute oil change, complete tune-ups, alignments, brakes, mufflers, air conditioning service, and more. Get more life out of your vehicle by bringing it to the local guys you can trust at Quick Lube and Tune on South Wenatchee Avenue.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
Good Wednesday morning. I'm Grant Olson in for Steve Hare with a look at your Wake Up Wenatchee Valley news update. In a lawsuit filed against WUWV Fruit Company on November 22nd, the State Attorney General's office is seeking reimbursement for the August 4th, 2016 wildfire near Orondo that burned 156 acres of Department of Natural Resources land. The lawsuit attributes the start of the fire to 2 workers who were welding in a cherry orchard owned by WUWV. The suit alleges the workers did not follow WUWV Fruit's established practices for preventing fire during welding, including wetting down the work area, keeping a small hose or bucket of sand nearby, and posting a lookout for 30 minutes after welding classes. The fire began on the east side of Highway 97, about 13 miles north of Orondo. The lawsuit does not specify a dollar amount, and WUWV Fruit Company has not yet responded. Still no word on the cause of a late morning barn fire yesterday near Cashmere. NCW Life's Jay Seebeck has more.
At approximately 11:30 a.m. today, crews from Chelan County Fire District 6 were dispatched to a structure fire. The structure was a barn located 6.5 miles up Mission Creek Road from Cashmere, about half a mile before the Sand Creek turnoff. The structure was one of 2 barns on the animal farmland and was completely collapsed after the fire burned through. 4 fire engines were deployed, but only 3 were able to make it to the property, as a narrow bridge was the only entrance. Despite the heavy snow and rainfall, the fire burnt much of the building to the ground and generated a large plume of smoke. Adjacent to the barn was a stable hosting several of the family's horses and all of their chickens, which had either been lost in the fire or escaped. No injuries have yet to be reported. Still no information on how the fire was started, but crews will continue their investigations into tomorrow. Expect a full report after the investigations have concluded. J.C. Beck, NCW Life News.
Once again, unemployment numbers in Chelan and Douglas counties have fallen. The latest data shows that the unemployment rate in the Dual County area dropped substantially from 5% in October of 2016 to 3.8% last month. In Wenatchee, the non-farm labor market provided 1,300 new jobs between 2015 and 2016. The Wenatchee civilian labor force also grew from 62,375 residents in 2015 to 64,578 in 2016, a 3.5% increase. The Wenatchee private education and health services industry has added jobs for the past 49 months, while hospitality employment has virtually remained the same between October 2016 and 2017. One of the reasons for those numbers is that more residents entered the workforce while the number of unemployed dropped substantially. The current unemployment rate for Chelan and Douglas counties is the lowest reading for the month of October since electronic records were implemented back in 1990. Well, the process of finalizing the 2018 budget continues for Chelan County Commissioners. Once again, the challenge this year is how to balance declining revenues without forcing layoffs on county employees. Commissioner Keith Gaynor explains some department heads have to get creative when it comes to staffing.
Well, we had a couple departments who have vacancies right now, and they're looking to restructure their staff. So, we'll have to address that as we go along, because we do want to make sure the departments are staffed adequately to provide the services that are necessary for the county to do. And when I say necessary, I mean the things that the county is doing right now really are pretty much statutorily required. We don't have a lot of discretion. In fact, we have very little discretion in that budget. But what had happened a few years ago when we did have layoffs is that we, in essence, got behind. And so we have tried to be very strategic in how we've added staff, and we will still have to maintain that approach to any new hires.
Commissioner Dale England added that the cost of government continues to rise, just like the private sector.
We know that there is a lot more stress on the budget this year without any major requests. And when you look at only being able to increase the operations of any business 1%, it makes it very difficult when all the costs, even for the county, are going up. And the county employees have been very patient while we were building up that working capital, and now they are in a position that they need to pay their bills too.
The commissioners hope to adopt next year's budget by mid-December. An update this morning on a story we recently reported about a moose that was poached near Lake Wenatchee earlier this fall. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife officials say since the story was released both in the news media and on social media, they are currently following up on several leads obtained by hunters and citizens that were in the area around the time of that poaching. The moose carcass was found only 50 yards off a logging road in the Meadow Creek area near Lake Wenatchee. Only the head and a small bit of meat were taken from that moose. Well, it's early in the holiday shopping season, but apparently it's not too early for thieves to steal those holiday packages right off your front porch. The Chelan County Sheriff's Office reports numerous thefts from porches of packages delivered by UPS, FedEx, the Postal Service, etc. Chelan County Sheriff Brian Burnett says there are ways to avoid this type of theft.
People that are being victimized, and to them it's a big deal. It could be valuables or getting things that they truly need to have, even medical wise. And so I guess for us is try to make arrangements so that you're there, or a family member or a friend can be there for delivery, or try to make it so where they don't deliver it unless they actually have someone in person, or try to find a different drop place. And I guess that's the biggest piece of it, is so much online shopping is part of our society nowadays, and and there, unfortunately, there's people out there that will continue to victimize many people and take advantage of those situations, especially coming into the holiday season. All of the different delivery companies are going to be extra busy and a lot of packages to deliver. So just trying to take those extra precautions to make sure that you don't become a victim of stolen property.
And that's a look at your morning news update. I'm Grant Olson, sitting in for Steve Hare. And please join me later on at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock for the NCW Life Evening News. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Grant. We appreciate your efforts. Don't forget, for you viewers out there, we'd love to hear from you. Get a hold of us any way you're most comfortable with. You can email us directly with the email address that you see at the bottom of your screen. You can simply pick up the telephone and call us during regular business hours. You can go to our Facebook page and message us if you so desire. Any number of ways for you to get a hold of us here at the NCW Life channel. If you just want to say hi, or maybe you have a story you think we need to work on, we'd love to hear from you. All the ways for you to contact us right there at the bottom of your screen. 16 minutes after the hour. Sports, quite a bit of sports. The prep winter sports season is officially underway. It started yesterday. We got high school basketball and bowling results, and good news for you fans of the Wenatchee Valley Rams. It's all coming up. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
Ladies of the Wenatchee Valley, do you know the secret of receiving the perfect gift for your birthday, anniversary, or Christmas? We have the answer for you at Collins Fashions. Come in and fill out a wish list. You can choose from beautifully crafted jewelry, handbags, and luggage from Brighton, stylish wallets and handbags from Lotus, cozy sweaters from Icelandic, zip fleece from Tommy Bahama, fashions from Joseph Ribkop, and Collins gift cards. Our little elves can contact your loved ones and share your wish list. Complimentary gift wrap and amazing service at Collins Fashions in downtown Wenatchee.
17 minutes after the hour, if you're just joining us on this Wednesday morning, the 29th day of November, just a quick friendly reminder of very thick frost, not only on your windshield if you park outside, but the roadways themselves have a pretty good layer of frost. So just a heads up, you could be in for a dicey and slicey and slippery morning commute. Don't say we didn't warn you. All right, high school sports, the Les Schwab Prep Scoreboard results from last night. This is what it looks like. Cascade traveled to Quincy and picked up a 55-51 victory. And at Eastmont, the host Wildcats fell to the visiting Cashmere Bulldogs. 63-52 Cashmere, 4 players in double figures. That's the boys. On the girls' side of the ledger last night as the Les Schwab Prep Scoreboard continues. They went 0-20 a year ago. Cascade, they're not going to go 0-20 this year. They beat Quincy in their opener. They downed the Jackrabbits 60-40 behind 18 points and 10 rebounds of Becca Francis. The defending state runner-up Cashmere Bulldogs, no trouble with their opener. They beat Ellensburg on the road 73-29. Haley Van Lith picked up right where she left off. 25 points for Haley, 9 assists and 5 steals. Eastmont began its season on a winning note in girls basketball. Down at Kennewick at Southridge, they downed the Suns 46-33. Emily DeFore led the way with 13 points for the Lady Cats. Meanwhile, to bowling at Eastmont Lanes, there you go. Eastmont and Wenatchee remaining undefeated. The Wildcats down Davis 4-0. The Panthers stopped Ellensburg 4-zip. Kayla Hankins was the bright spot for the day for Wenatchee. She bowled a game-high 247. I'm not a bowler, but that's good. One item on the prep schedule for today, Wednesdays, is pretty quiet. We got wrestling. The Cheyenne Wrestlers will get the season started along with a few other CTL teams at Okanagan tonight. 6 o'clock, it is the Bulldogs Jamboree. In men's college basketball, Noah Dickerson scored 24 points in 24 minutes. Sam Timmons added 13 points. Washington defeats Kennesaw State 85-71. Tonight, number 15 Gonzaga will host the University of the Incarnate Word Cardinals. They're from San Antonio, Texas, a Division I school. And as it turns out, this is really good news. The Wenatchee Valley Rams football team is not done. At the conclusion of last season, the head coach and the owner of the team, Mickey White, announced the organization was going to be closing its doors after 14 seasons of play in various semi-pro leagues, highlighted, of course, by the national championship of a couple of years ago. White, with his wife Susanna and their 6-month-old son Cassius, will be featured on next week's Let's Learn with Eric Grandstrom. And he admitted, Mickey did, that he wanted to be done before last season.
In fact, we weren't going to have a team last year, and some guys was like, come on, coach, one more. So we threw a team together, and I'm happy we did. It didn't turn out the way it's been years prior. But anyway, long story short, guys were, come on, coach, let's do it again. And okay, we did one last year. Then this year, thought we were completely done. There's some tears coming down everybody's face at the last game, and got a call. I don't even think it was a week later. Coach, we're going to keep this going. I said, guys, I can't anymore. My wife and I, we just can't. They're like, no, don't worry about it. We just want you to coach.
That's great news. The Rams are alive and well. They're already getting ready for another season of spring and summer football here in the Wenatchee Valley.
I got a phone call from a guy that normally played defensive end for us, Andy Jones. He's been with us, I think, 7 seasons. And like I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure it wasn't a full week had gone by when the season was over. He called and said, Coach, we're going to keep this sucker going. And I kind of, well, we'll see. And not even another week went by, and he said, what do I need to do to keep it going? So Suzanne and I met with him a little bit and told him, and he went out and got 10 other board members, and off we're running. And I was telling you during the break that the neat thing to me is, and this kind of shows true to Coach Preston's Ram family philosophy that we've carried on, is the main owner's not even from Wenatchee. You know, he believes in the Ram family and loves us so much. He had his own team called the Palouse Thunder for, I believe, 7 seasons.
Right.
And came on board with us 2 years ago and just fell in love. He travels from Pullman every week to play with the Rams.
It's a fascinating story. It's a great interview and a great show. So you can watch more on the Ram family story next week with Let's Learn, hosted by Eric Granstrom right here on the NCW Life channel. It's good to have Ram football back 22 minutes after the hour, Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, the obscure holiday of the day today. Swing your partner round and round. Do-zee-do-do-do-do-do. It's Square Dance Day, one of my favorite Warner Brothers cartoons. You remember that one? Bugs Bunny and the 2 hillbillies. Yes, it's National Square Dance Day. It's always held on November 29th because, well, we don't know. English, Irish, and Scottish settlers brought square dancing to the United States. What the United States brought to square dancing was the collar. The collar was added to help dancers, stay in step. So the collar part of square dancing is all American. Square dancing is lively, it's quick, it's lots of fun. There's a square dance club here in town. In fact, they've been on my show before. They square dance at the East Wenatchee Grange. Medical sites, medical journals, doctors will tell you square dancing is good for you. It has health benefits. It's a great way to meet new people of all ages. It is Square Dance Day, so sometime during the course of the day today, do a little dozy-doze and swing your partner around and round. Square Dance Day, November 29th. I'll never call square dance. Apparently, I don't rhyme very well. 23 minutes after the hour, today in history. Good or bad, regardless of the event, if it catches my eye, whether it was a tragic event or a wonderful event, we're going to mention it here on this program. This is a tragic event for 236 years ago. The British slave ship the Zong was transporting slaves from Africa to the United States. They made a bunch of navigational mistakes along the way. They essentially lost their way, the crew members of the Zong, and they realized they were going to run out of drinking water. And that was a problem. So what did they do? The 133 slaves on board the Zong, they bound their wrists and their ankles, and they threw them overboard, and they drowned. They did it for 2 reasons. Number 1, so they could have enough drinking water to make it to North America. And number 2, they had an insurance policy, and they figured if they murdered all the slaves, the insurance company will pay for it. The tragedy of the Zong, 133 African slaves thrown overboard, happened on this date 236 years ago. I told you it's not all peaches and cream. Now there is this. From 170 years ago, the WUWV Massacre happened on this date in 1847 in Walla Walla, Washington. 170 years ago, of course, the missionary Dr. Marcus Whitman, his wife, and 15 others were killed by the Cayuse and Umatilla Indians. It began the Cayuse War. There's all kinds of speculation on what exactly caused the Whitman Massacre. Most historians agree that the white man, of course, introduced measles to the Native Americans. The Native Americans had no immunity to measles. They got the measles, and Dr. Whitman couldn't cure it, and they got angry at him. That's essentially what most people think. The Whitman Massacre, one of the big events in the Northwest, happened on this date 170 years ago. On a much lighter note, happy birthday to Pong. Boop, boop, boop. The very first commercially successful video game, Pong, was introduced by Atari on this date in 1972. Now, of course, video games are just unbelievable graphics and sound and so deep. Pong was just Pong, and we would play it for hours and hours and hours. My, how time flies. Happy birthday to Pong, 45 years old, 45 years ago today. North Korea has been in the news quite a bit lately, and something might happen today. We talked about, they fired a missile yesterday. North Korea is causing some issues. It's going to be Mike Magnotti's opinion here in just a couple of minutes about what's going on in North Korea. And 30 years ago today, Korean Air Flight 838 exploded in midair, crashed to the ground. All 150 passengers and crew on board were killed. This was 30 years ago today. And the reason it was brought down is two North Korean agents. North Korean agents planted a bomb on the plane. It happened 30 years ago today. So I wouldn't be surprised on this 30th anniversary of North Korea essentially blowing up a South Korea airline, something might happen. I'm just throwing it out there. Happened on this date 30 years ago today. All right, let's do birthdays. All right, all of my birthdays today are all great people. They're all alive. They're doing great, including the great Vin Scully, who just retired after 67 seasons as the voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers. When he started, he was the voice of the Brooklyn Dodgers. That's how long he's been at it. Considered by many, including myself, maybe as the greatest play-by-play announcer, not only in baseball history, but in all of sports. The legendary Vin Scully. It would have been really good to see Vin's Dodgers win the World Championship. They haven't done it since 1988. Happy 90th birthday. He's 90 years old today, the great Vin Scully. Felix Cavallari celebrates a birthday today. He was a member of the Rascals, the Young Rascals, and then the Rascals. He played the organ. He and Eddie Brigatti wrote almost all of the big hits from the Rascals. He played the organ. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. Felix Cavallari, one of my favorite rockers from the 60s. He's 75 years old today. The greatest relief pitcher in baseball history, Mariano Rivera, 19 years with the New York Yankees. He's 48 years old today. The all-time leader in saves, the all-time leader in postseason saves. He's a surefire first-time Hall of Famer when he makes the ballot in a couple of years. He was also the last man in baseball history to wear jersey number 42 when they retired Jackie Robinson's jersey across all of baseball back in 1997. And it was a grandfather clause in that any existing baseball player who was wearing number 42 at the time would be continued to allow to be wearing number 42, and Mariano Rivera was the last man to wear number 42 actively in Major League Baseball. Happy 48th birthday to Mariano Rivera. And Russell Wilson is 29 years old today. There he is. Did you know he is the second highest rated NFL passer of all time? Only Aaron Rodgers has a higher NFL passer rating than Russell Wilson. He's also won more games, 63, than any other NFL quarterback in his first 6 seasons. Russell Wilson, you may have heard of him. He plays quarterback for a local football team. He's 29 years old today, 27 minutes after the hour. You know, one thing I didn't do, and I need to mention this, my guest in the second half of the show is a pre-taped interview that Steve Hare conducted with Steve King. Steve King is the Economic Development Director for the City of Wenatchee. The City of Wenatchee is the lead governmental agency in a huge grant process that they're putting together. They've teamed up with Chelan County, Douglas County, both cities, both ports. It's a huge, huge project. It has a significant impact on the future of North Central Washington. Steve King, the Economic Development Director, was Steve Hare's guest a couple of weeks ago. We're going to show that interview in the second half of the show. We also have Everyone is Entitled to Mike Magnotti's Opinion coming up in just a couple of minutes. And we want to remind you about the Les Schwab Community Toy Drive, which is going on right now. Every kid should have a toy, a brand new toy wrapped in under the tree for that magic moment on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve, as the case may be, when you rip open the toy and you got it. Everybody can remember that. Let's make it happen for every kid in North Central Washington. This is where we ask for your help. Go out and buy a brand new unwrapped toy and put it in any of our collection boxes. They're all over town. We have one here at the NCW Life Channel, both Les Schwab locations. Country 104.7 KKRV has a big box in their lobby. They're located right next to Albertsons here in Wenatchee. The Wenatchee World has a big box there. Sangster Motors, Columbia Valley Community Health, Works. When you go down to work out along the riverfront, you say hi to Blair and the crew, bring a toy down there. And Hooked on Toys, which is great because you do it all in one spot. You go to Hooked on Toys, have a massive toy selection. Buy the toy, stick it in the box. And if you need help, go to the Facebook page. If you go to your Facebook page and in the search bar, just type in Les Schwab Community Toy Drive, and you will find their Facebook page. And there's a list of the actual toys that they're looking for. So we can make everybody happy. Every kid should have a new toy under the tree. Nobody disagrees with that. Thank you, Les Schwab, for taking the lead on this as well. 29 minutes after the hour, Everyone is Entitled to Mike Magnotti's Opinion. Coming up, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
This is the NCW Life Life Community Calendar brought to you by Localtel. Head on down to the Wenatchee Valley Museum December 2 from 10 to 4, where kids of all ages are encouraged to come and make handmade gifts and crafts, warm up with a cup of hot cocoa, and get their picture taken with Santa. Also, Stage Kids will be performing Bah Humbug, a musical adaptation of A Christmas Carol, November 30 to December 2 at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Tickets can be found at numericapac.org. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
Hi, I'm Cordell Schroeder, owner of East Wenatchee Mobile Storage.
If you're thinking about making a move anytime soon, check out the East Wenatchee Mini Storage brand new mobile storage service. They drop it off at your location, you pack it, and they pick it up and store it in their protected warehouse at East Wenatchee for as long as you need. When you're ready, they'll drop it off at your new home or office. East Wenatchee Mini Storage is excited to offer this brand new service to our region.
Call 509-884-8643 or find us on the web at ewministorage.com.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CVCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CVCH respects that.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing Honey Blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Praise Fruit Barn has so much to be thankful for and invites you to their holiday open house. Come and enjoy hot cider, wine tasting, and tasty treats as they celebrate the announcement of being open every month of the year. Leavenworth Quilt Company inspires ideas from simple to amazing with gorgeous fabrics, interesting patterns, and inspiration for all levels of quilter. Shop Dilly Dally, a wonderful gift shop with many one-of-a-kind gifts and a corner just for the little ones. Stop on by this Saturday for the open house at Praise Fruit Barn.
Turn back the clocks and grab the ice melt. Winter weather is here. This is Corey at Rose Tractor. If you're looking for a reliable way to clear snow, look no further than Cub Cadet. For sidewalks and driveways, a Cub Cadet snow thrower will get the job done in a jiffy. For larger jobs, a Cub Cadet Challenger utility vehicle with a snow blade will handle about anything. You can depend on Cub Cadet for years of reliable performance, and we'll help you select the best model for your job at Rose Tractor, family-run business at the corner of 3rd and Rock Island Road in East Wenatchee.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. So this Kim Jong, what's his name? He's building nukes, he's testing missiles, and he's threatening us with attack. So tell me, how is it that President Trump is responsible for leading us to the brink of war? I mean, is there really something wrong with telling someone who threatens to nuke us that if they try, we're going to destroy them? I mean, sure, I'm all for diplomatic means of resolving these things, but we're trying that, and that doesn't seem to really be working all that well. And if the North Korean spoiled brat does decide to attack us, I mean, I can't even begin to believe it will be President Trump's fault. I mean, come on. I mean, dislike the guy, Trump, all you want, but put responsibility where the responsibility belongs. Now, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by Localtel. Journey to Bethlehem is November 30 to December 3 and includes a large cast, a living nativity with a camel, and a Christmas concert. Tour times are listed at j2bwenatchee.org. The Wenatchee High School Madrigal Feast is November 30 to December 2. This kingly dinner, replete with song and entertainment, will take place at the WHS Auditorium at 5 p.m. each night. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
The Cottage Inn has been a Wenatchee Valley landmark since 1940, making it one of the longest-running locally owned restaurants around. And it's better than ever. Steak, seafood, and their famous homemade desserts for dinner, wonderful lunch items and breakfast on Sundays, all made from scratch and at an affordable price. It's no wonder the Cottage Inn has been so popular for over 75 years. Enjoy a fabulous meal today at the Cottage Inn on Easy Street in Old Station.
At Local Myth Pizza, we believe in real food, freshly prepared with only premium ingredients. Our cheeses are imported from Italy. Our sauces, dressings, and even our sausages are made in-house fresh daily. Featuring Northwest craft beers and 30 Chelan Valley wines and ciders. Family fun and amazing food. Eat local, drink local, and be local at Local Myth Pizza.
Come see why Sunset Magazine says you can't beat Local Myth Pizza.
Well, good morning and welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Steve Hare, and it's time for our guest feature now on our program. And I think we have some really exciting news to share with our residents of the Wenatchee Valley, and that's on both sides of the river, folks, because there's a major project in the offing right now. The City of Wenatchee and several other entities are going to be applying for a major federal grant. And of course, couple that with a local match to pay for a massive project list of road projects here in the Wenatchee Valley. And here to join me to explain what's happening and what might be in our future, Steve King, who with the City of Wenatchee serves as the city's Community Development Director. So Steve, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Steve. Pleasure to be here.
You know, when I first heard about this, I said, you've got to be kidding me. There's no chance for the city to obtain, upwards of $250 million in grant funding to pay for these projects. But first of all, I'm going to let you explain what it is that we're embarking on here.
You bet, you bet. So we have this loop in our valley, and it's George Seller Bridge, Sunset Highway, Otabashan Bridge, North Wenatchee Avenue, on down through town. And so that loop is our transportation lifeline. It's our backbone. And if you think about it, if you drive anywhere in this valley, you're going to touch that loop. And in most cities, they have an interstate system. And the federal government invests a lot of money in interstate systems. I don't care if you're Moses Lake, Spokane, Yakima. And the community gets the benefit from that investment. Wenatchee doesn't have an interstate system. And this grant program came open where it favors rural communities. And so we said, you know what? Our loop is our interstate. This is what is our lifeline for our economics, for freight, for this valley. And so we said we need to go big. We talked to folks in Washington, D.C. at USDOT, and they said, go big.
So you've already reached out.
We've already reached out. And so we brought the partners together in the valley to submit one application instead of piecemealed approach.
This is a huge project, an undertaking that involves several entities. In fact, I'll read those for you right now. We have the City of Wenatchee is applying for this grant on behalf of partnership with the DOT, the Port of Douglas County, City of East Wenatchee, Chelan County, the Port of Chelan County, the Chelan-Douglas Transportation Council, Link Transit, and Burlington Northern Santa Fe.
Affects a lot of entities, doesn't it?
But I guess that makes it more attractive.
It does. It really does. And if you think about it, if we were all applying for our own projects, it would add up. And so when you consolidate everything together, and the great thing is we have DOT, who already has funds slated for this area, upwards of $81 million for North Wenatchee Avenue and Sunset Highway. That's our match. So we're asking for $150 million of federal funds. We already have $81 million of state funds coming here, plus we have $20 million of Link and city funds that will go into this.
I know that you provided us with some illustrations of what we can expect to see. Don't have these in any particular order, but Caitlin, if you can bring up this first one, which is the Confluence Parkway artist's rendition. And I don't know who did the artwork here, but it's quite good.
It's quite good. You know, Allison Williams had a great idea. She said, we need to get some perspectives and visuals on what Confluence Parkway would look like. So we hired Jan Cook Mack, famous artist in the Valley. Yeah, and she put together some different exhibits that show us what it could look like. And there's a lot of work to be done to finalize the design. But in this picture, Confluence Parkway, which is a big part of the grant, provides us a parallel bypass to North Wenatchee Avenue, and you're looking there at the walking bridge that exists today, the railroad bridge, and then right in the middle of it, we would put Confluence Parkway, a two-lane road.
This would be our third bridge then that we're referencing here that goes over the Wenatchee River. It's a third bridge over the Wenatchee, not the Columbia River, and there on top there, Route 285, which is the existing.
Bridge, yeah. And the neat thing about this is, when we had the Sleepy Hollow fires, North Wenatchee Avenue was just jam-packed. Well, this Confluence Parkway will connect back into the system down at Miller Street by Denny's.
Oh.
And so there'll be another way out of town.
A bypass.
A bypass, yeah. And for those of you that know what Highway 12 looks like around Lewiston, Idaho, it'd be very similar. And this is a bypass, a two-lane bypass that would carry 20,000 cars a day.
Would it also be open for truck traffic?
Yes, yeah, definitely be open for truck traffic. And it'll be a relatively uninterrupted flow, right? If you think about along the railroad tracks out there where the loop trail is, it would be uninterrupted. And so part of this project involves relocating the loop trail and actually making the loop trail nicer, making that area of our, the Haran area nicer, the park area nicer. So it's also about some of our other assets is transportation and the non-motorized trail that exists.
Now let's take a look at this second illustration here that Caitlin's brought up for us. And there you see the Columbia River on top. And what are we looking at here?
There, picture yourself hovering over the Holiday Inn. In a helicopter over the Holiday Inn, and you're looking down on the Haran wetlands area, and you see Confluence Parkway goes right along the railroad tracks, and we illustrate a pull-off area. We believe there should be an interpretive area there. This is a very important cultural site, a heritage area from the Colvilles and Yakima nations. And then you see the loop trail gets relocated. Currently, it's right along the railroad tracks, and we would push the loop trail a little ways away from the railroad tracks, and it would connect in down by where the corner of Miller and Holly is.
Burlington Northern plays a critical role in all of this. Maybe you can explain how it was that you got them on board, first of all.
You bet. So many people don't know it, but the Burlington Northern line that runs through Wenatchee is the Seattle-Chicago main line, a really important freight corridor.
It's the Empire Builder.
It's the Empire Builder, yep. And so Burlington Northern does not like at-grade crossings because they have a huge risk of accident. So we have at-grade crossings at Miller Street and at Holly Street right now, and we will do away with those and put underpasses under the tracks, just like we have at Fifth Street, only nicer looking.
Okay, so essentially the federal grant will pay for what?
It'll pay for those underpasses, it'll pay for Confluence Parkway, and it'll pay for an interchange over in Douglas County. They call it the North End Development at Cascade. So where Highway 2 crosses, actually there's a bridge already there over the sand. We'll put an interchange there, and that will access that land that Douglas County Port's been working on to prepare for development.
So at this point, what is the status of the grant application?
The grant application submitted. Hats off to our team that put in a lot of work to put in a good application. And we will probably wait about 6 months for USDOT to review the grant applications along with all the others across the nation. And then we'll see where we end up. And we're hopeful to either get a partial award or full award. I prefer full award, but sometimes they give you partial awards to start things off.
Our congressional delegation, are they on board?
They are. In fact, they submitted letters of support for the application, and we met with their staff back in D.C. here about a month ago, and they're happy that we're coming together as a team to put together this application.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a long planning process that went into this, because I know we've been talking about a lot of these projects for, gosh, 15, 20 years, it seems like. And I know there's always been a lot of discussion at the metropolitan planning level through the Wenatchee Valley Transportation Council.
Exactly. You know, we have always focused on this loop. George Seller Bridge was the last big investment. And you know, we added up the investments over the last 10 years, $110 million that we've put into this loop over the last 10 years. And that only $4 million was federal. Out of that 110 million. So that gives you some perspective. It's time for the federal, you know, the transportation system of our nation to join the party and help us out here.
So why are we seeing the big participation by Douglas County? I mean, how does it benefit Douglas County?
You bet. So specifically the Cascade Interchange in that north end development. So once you go across Otabashan Bridge on the north end of our community, our valley, there's a lot of open land there that Douglas County would like to see ready for development. So we have a housing crisis, for example.
True.
You know, it opens up some land that is accessed by transportation.
So that north end plan that they have been working on in Douglas County Port would be benefited by this.
Yes, there's about 17 million that goes directly into that project.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Steve King, Wenatchee City Community Development Director, joining us, talking about this huge federal grant that they're applying for to pay for a myriad of projects here to improve transportation through the Wenatchee Valley. Steve's going to stick around for a few more minutes, and we'll talk about some other city planning projects that are going on, because there are many, because definitely the city of Wenatchee is in a state of transition right now. We'll have more on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley as we continue.
Fighting on the bottom, and he got the pitch. Swung on and hit hard to left field. Caught out there in left field. Yes,
on the NCW Life Channel, your local TV station.
The 2017 Ski-Doo Summit sleds. Next generation REV platform. The most powerful two-stroke engine in the industry. For the unmatched handling and power to own the next side hill, the next drop, the next ride. Ski-Doo. What matters is what's next.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life Channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life Channel.
This is TV. This is TV Set Free. TV everywhere from LocalTel sets you free to watch what you want, where you want. Catch your favorite networks, including live TV, ready to watch on any web-connected device for no extra charge. That's TV Set Free. Enjoy the extra value LocalTel delivers with TV everywhere. Visit localtel.net and sign up today.
And we're back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley for this Wednesday, November 8th. Again, for all the election results from last night, go to our website at ncwlife.com. We have a link there to all the elections returns for Chelan, Douglas, Grant, and Okanagan counties. Want to welcome again our guest in the studio today, Steve King with the City of Wenatchee. We've been talking about that major transportation grant that you've applied for, along with some other entities here in Chelan and Douglas County. But I also wanted to talk to you about the growth of the city right now, because we were talking a little bit off mic about what Wenatchee would like to see itself as in the future. And we have this group, the Our Valley, Our Future organization that's helping in that planning process going forward. But Steve, I know that we were talking about our city and the changes that are occurring here and the growth that's occurring. And it's your job, basically, to kind of map out that growth, to see how we can accommodate new residents and and then, of course, we have this situation going on right now with a housing crunch, affordable housing crunch, and cities making great strides, I think, towards filling that hole. But again, Steve, let's talk about growth in the city.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought this up, because there's a lot of different perceptions on what growth means, and the bottom line is growth happens. It has happened in the past, it's happening now, and it will continue to happen. And if you look at other cities, I like to look at Boise as an example. 40 years ago, Boise was the same size as Wenatchee, and look at what it is now. So growth is going to happen. And what I'm really encouraged about is our Valley, Our Future group has basically a grassroots effort, has brought up all these intentional planning action items to structure our valley, intentionally change our valley to accommodate the growth and shape it in a way that I think actually keeps the character of Wenatchee, the really nice character that we have.
Well, the public is being engaged every step of the way through that process, too.
Yeah, and you need that because the public is ultimately also the ones shaping the growth. It's really about culture. It's about how do you deal with educational issues. It's transportation we talked about. It's you know, business development, housing, and government just doesn't do that alone. This is a partnership, and if you don't have very intentional actions, then it happens haphazardly, and you end up with some things you probably don't want to see as your valley grows.
Well, I know that there are some examples that you could share on past projects. I know that you go through these sub-area plans, which you engage the public with through every step of that process. And most notably, I think that riverfront development and the way that is evolving is really a major feather, at least in the planner's cap.
Oh, it's amazing. The waterfront sub-area plan adopted back in 2004 was a public-based, engagement-based plan. And look where we are now with the Pybus Market, the hotel going in, the housing units. It really is coming together, and it wouldn't have happened without that plan. And what would have happened is there would have been a real haphazard development pattern. You would never get the synergies of the hotel and Pybus Market located right in downtown, right? That's the result of good planning, and I'm very thankful to be involved in that.
You know, we were talking about Douglas County earlier and the city of East Wenatchee. How can the city of Wenatchee and, let's say, Chelan County work more closely on these growth issues with our counterparts across the river?
Well, you know, so economies, and when an area grows, they don't really care about what jurisdiction you're in. There are, I mean, people in economies cross jurisdictional lines. So I think that's the nice thing about our Valley, Our Future is it does pull together all the agencies so that we're communicating and talking. That doesn't mean you don't do things a little differently, and you should. To create some identity and differences, so there's a variety of things. But it should also happen informed by everybody's actions, and it helps us all structure what we do to help the overall goals.
It's important that everybody be on the same page.
Absolutely, you bet, you bet.
Well, Steve, we've got some projects that are ongoing, under construction here in the Valley. I know you mentioned the new hotel that's going in down here at the riverfront next to Pybus. Drove past that site yesterday and noticed that they're doing some site preparation and actual construction now.
Yes, yeah, I saw the footings are poured, and so it's a race right now to get the footings all done before snow and the frozen ground is what we're really worried about. But our hope is that they get all the footings done, and then you'll start seeing something go up vertically, hopefully later this winter or first into spring. Lodging
industry seems to be growing here in the Wenatchee Valley across the river. We've got the new Marriott that's going in there.
Yeah.
The Hilton going in here. What are you hearing out there? What is the buzz about the Wenatchee Valley? And because obviously the effort to create or establish this area as an outdoor recreation hub appears to be catching on with the lodging industry.
I think you're exactly right. I think there's two things driving the lodging industry. I think there's business. So I don't care if you're working on server farms in Quincy or in Douglas County, you're coming here as workers to stay. And then I think we've made great strides in our tourism industry. and really feeding off of some of the successes in Leavenworth and Chelan. Mission Ridge, our waterfront, you know, the water, biking, mountain biking, the trails, all that stuff is the Town Toyota Center and wintertime activities. We're really seeing the lodging, it just continues to grow and the hotels recognize it. That's why they're building.
Housing, which is the chief, I think, issue right now in the Wenatchee Valley, or a lack thereof of affordable housing. It sounds like there are some movement there as well in terms of creating some new multi-housing development.
You know, multifamily housing is probably the easiest way to attack the problem in terms of getting the number of units established. And thankfully, we have a few projects in the pipe. There's some projects down on the riverfront again, 140 units there, 65 units out on McKittrick Street, and then there's some pipeline discussions about another maybe 300 or 400 units over the next few years. That's huge because we have about a 1,600 unit deficiency, all said.
One final note, I wanted to ask you about the status of the city's negotiations right now with LocalTel to access some space at the federal building.
Well, we're pretty excited about this. It's the federal building is a fantastic structure, and we're working right now with LocalTel to figure out how to condominiumize that building to where hopefully we'll be under construction maybe in a year or two to actually move City Hall into that. We're out of space, and we're just excited about the opportunity to consolidate city services over there.
That's wonderful. Steve King is well, let's call him the Chief Land Use Planner for the City of Wenatchee. As the Community Development Director, I want to thank you for joining me here on the show today. Anything else that you'd like to share with our viewers this morning regarding the city and, let's say, where we're headed?
Well, just, you know, enjoy this valley. It's a great valley. It's beautiful. I love your guys' pictures in the morning, your cameras. And, you know, get out and enjoy it. We're heading into winter, so be safe, and happy holidays to everybody.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to get a hold of Matt Leonard, your Public Works Director here in the near future, because we want to get an update, let's say, on snow removal. Of course, that's coming up, and got good news from last year. That new brine system that they bought is pretty much paid for itself, according to Matt.
It's huge, great move. Matt did a good job and the team did a great job coming together to figure that one out. That was awesome.
Notice that our city Parks and Recreation Director has been reelected to the Cashmere City
saw
Council.
that,
Dave?
Congratulations, Dave.
Speaking of which, boy, he's been a busy guy.
Oh, yeah.
Over the past year with the new park development and everything else.
Oh, it's wonderful.
That's wonderful news.
Yeah. And I just saw some a presentation or some information yesterday from him. Lincoln Park's our next big effort. There's some rehab needs in Lincoln Park, so we're pretty excited.
Oh, what with the new park there at Saddle Rock, the new gateway to that trail system up there. And some of the things that the Chelan Douglas Land Trust is doing to make that trail system so attractive. Really, the city of Wenatchee, we should put our dark glasses on. I mean, in terms of the future.
It's impressive. And those parks are so valuable to quality of life, right?
Yeah.
It's just amazing,
Really is. Well, Steve King, good luck to you going forward with this grant application. We'll keep our fingers crossed and knock on wood, we'll get some money back here to improve transportation here in the Wenatchee Valley.
Great interview with our news director, Steve Hare, and Steve King, the Economic Development Director for the City of Wenatchee. And as that grant process goes forward, we will keep you in the loop. We have just about a minute left in this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's take a quick look at your weather forecast one more time as you head on out the door. Pretty good looking day today. Partly sunny, high of about 44. There's a ridge of high pressure that's here. It's not very strong. In fact, it's pretty weak, all things considered. So that ridge that I'm talking about is going to give way to yet another front for Thursday and Thursday night. Basically every other day, fairly sunny and dry. And then the other days, a little on the wet side. So partly sunny today, high 44 degrees, mostly cloudy tonight, 34 for the overnight low. The next system comes in Thursday. Widespread light precipitation. No significant rain really in the Wenatchee Valley, nor snow really for that matter, Very little, about a 40% chance of some kind of precipitation. Now the mountain passes, of course, the upper elevations are going to get a little bit of snow. So basically, light rain in the valley, light snow in the mountains, no significant snowfall until you get to Friday. Friday night passes are okay. Earlier there were traction tire advisories on I-90. That's been lifted. No advisories or restrictions on Snoqualmie Pass. A little bit of light snow on Stevens, a little bit of light snow on Blewett. They're not expecting a great deal of precipitation today in the Cascades. My guests tomorrow, Braden Dragoo and Katie Atkinson. College basketball coming to the Town Toyota Center next month. Until then, everybody have a great and safe Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.